The Porsche engineers were standing in the cold pit lane at Sebring when they realized their worst nightmare was happening right in front of them. The sheer speed of this new machine was baffling. It was the year 2001, and they were losing to a car that technically shouldn't exist. Now, if you ask around the paddock today, everyone says BMW cheated to win. But the data shows something completely different. BMW didn't cheat. The rules did. What you need to know about this moment is that it changed everything. This is the story of a custom V8 that destroyed a racing series and became an absolute legend. Let's go back to the reality of the American Le Mans series in the year 2000. At the time, Porsche's 911 GT3 RSR was completely untouchable. It was the undisputed king of the grid. Their design focused heavily on balance, efficiency, and reliability. Instead of just aiming for raw power, the 911 showed its strength by consistently outlasting and outrunning everyone else in brutal endurance races. Over at BMW, things were looking pretty grim. They were running the standard E46 M3. It was powered by their famous naturally aspirated straight-six engine. It was a great car, but it just didn't have the raw firepower to mount a serious challenge in GT endurance racing. The inline-six was maxed out. They knew that incremental improvements wouldn't be enough to close the gap. They were tired of playing second fiddle to Porsche, so they needed a radical solution, and so they did something drastic. They dropped the straight-six and built a secret weapon. They created the P60B40. This was a bespoke 4-liter V8 engine built specifically for competition. It was a complete departure from everything BMW stood for. The mechanical specs on this thing are absolute madness. We're talking about a pure race engine developed in under 6 months. It featured a lightweight aluminum block and aluminum heads. They gave it a forged steel flat plane crankshaft and a complex dry sump lubrication system. They designed it to rev high, produce massive power, and run forever under the absolute worst track conditions. It pushed out over 440 horsepower, and it sounded like a tearing sheet of metal. This was a massive shock to the system. BMW is a company deeply rooted in its inline-six heritage. That engine layout is their entire identity. But they abandoned all of that history just to build a pure trophy hunter. They wanted to win, and they didn't care what traditions they had to break to do it. The engineers in Munich looked at Porsche's dominance and decided to fight fire with a massive displacement V8. But building a massive V8 is only half the battle, because you still have to get it past the rulebook. Let's talk about the golden rule of GT racing. You have to race what you sell to the public. The entire category is built on the idea that these race cars are modified versions of street-legal sports cars. That is the entire point. You build a chassis, you sell it to the public, and then you take that exact same layout to the track. It keeps the manufacturers honest. It stops them from building million-dollar spaceships that nobody can actually buy. But the rules back in 2001 were incredibly vague. They basically just said you had to offer the car for sale on 3 continents. They did not specify a massive production number. So BMW looked at that rule and found their loophole. They built the M3 GTR Strassenversion. That translates to street version, but calling this thing a street car is a massive stretch. They built exactly 10 of them. That is it, just 10 cars to satisfy the rulebook. And they priced them at roughly $250,000 each. That was more than 5 times the cost of a standard M3. They did not want you to buy this car. It was a compliance exercise. When you look at the Strassenversion, it is basically a detuned race car with license plates. They took the race spec V8 and choked it down to about 350 horsepower just to pass noise and emissions tests. They ripped out the sequential racing gearbox and threw in a standard 6-speed manual. They kept the aggressive carbon fiber body panels, the hood, the roof, the massive fender flares, all carbon fiber. They stripped out the back seats. They dropped in racing Recaro buckets. They stiffened the chassis so much that driving it to the grocery store would rattle your teeth out. It was a token effort, a technicality on 4 wheels. But it got them the stamp of approval. The V8 M3 was officially legal to race, which brings us to the actual racing. When the 2001 American Le Mans Series kicked off, the paddock did not know what was about to hit them. BMW showed up with the GTR and immediately started tearing the grid apart. The car was an absolute monster. The V8 engine gave them a massive advantage in torque. Coming out of slow corners, the Porsche 911 would just watch the BMW pull away. The flat 6 in the Porsche was brilliant, but it simply could not match the brute force of a purpose-built 4-liter V8, and it wasn't just straight-line speed. The GTR had a widened stance. It had aggressive aerodynamics. The carbon fiber body kept the weight down, and the flat-plane crank V8 sat low and far back in the engine bay, giving the car perfect balance. BMW Team PTG and Schnitzer Motorsport fielded these cars. They were untouchable. Out of 10 races that season, the M3 GTR won 7 of them. They secured the GT Class Championship. Drivers like Jörg Müller basically had a front-row seat to the easiest wins of their careers. They were setting blistering lap times over massive endurance distances, and the car just refused to break down. The engine was designed to rev to 10,000 RPM without the pistons kissing the valves. It was bulletproof. Driving it was a brutal, visceral experience. The cabin was incredibly hot, requiring special NACA ducts on the roof just to keep the drivers from passing out. It used a dog box transmission, meaning once you got going, you didn't even use the clutch. You just blipped the throttle and slammed the shifter into the next gear. It shot 6-foot flames out the side exhaust on downshifts. It was a raw analog weapon, but winning that hard makes people angry. Porsche was furious. They had spent years perfecting the 911 GT3 RSR. They played by the spirit of the rules. Their race car was genuinely based on a car you could walk into a dealership and buy. They looked at the BMW and called it what it was, a prototype wearing an M3 costume. Porsche argued that the V8 engine was completely custom. It did not exist in any other BMW production car. You could not buy a standard 5 Series or 7 Series with that specific engine. It was a race motor first and a street motor second. And even then, only 10 people on the planet could theoretically own one. The organizers of the racing series started feeling the pressure. The automobile club that governed the rules realized BMW had outsmarted them. BMW technically followed the rules exactly as they were written, but they completely destroyed the competitive balance of the GT class. If they let this continue, every manufacturer would just build 10 custom supercars, slap a familiar badge on them, and call it a day. The series would turn into an arms race that nobody could afford. So, the regulators decided to strike back. For the 2002 season, the rulebook got a massive rewrite. The organizers decided to close the loophole permanently. They stated that to compete in the GT class, a manufacturer now had to build at least 100 road-legal versions of their race car. But they did not stop there. They also demanded that the manufacturer produce at least 1,000 engines. This was a direct attack on the M3 GTR. Building 10 street cars was a financial loss that BMW could absorb for the sake of a trophy. Building 100 carbon fiber V8 powered supercars plus 1,000 custom racing engines? That was financial suicide. The P60 engine was incredibly expensive to manufacture. It was a bespoke unit. There was absolutely no business case for mass producing it. BMW was trapped. They could not meet the new homologation numbers. Just like that, after a single year of absolute dominance, the M3 GTR was banned from the American Le Mans series. They packed up their V8s, withdrew from the series, and went home. Porsche regained their crown, and the grid went back to normal. But the story of the GTR does not end in the history books of a racing series. Because while it died on the track, it found a completely new life somewhere else. If you ask a car enthusiast today about the M3 GTR, they probably won't mention the American Le Mans series. They will mention a video game. In 2005, Electronic Arts released Need for Speed Most Wanted. It became one of the best-selling racing games of all time. And the hero car, the ultimate prize on the cover of the box, was the BMW M3 GTR. It wore that iconic silver and blue livery. It had the massive rear wing. It had the aggressive hood vents. And most importantly, the developers managed to capture the terrifying, straight-cut gear whine of that custom V8 engine. For millions of kids and teenagers, this was their introduction to the legend. The game made the car a cultural icon. It took a highly technical, rule-bending homologation special and turned it into the ultimate symbol of rebellion. In the game, you use the car to outrun the cops and dominate the streets. It perfectly mirrored what the real car did to the racing establishment. It showed up, broke the rules, beat everyone, and disappeared. Because the real street car is so rare, with only a handful surviving in museums and private collections, the video game became the only way for anyone to actually experience it. The digital version kept the legend alive long after the real engines went quiet. So what did BMW actually learn from this massive, expensive experiment? The GTR proved that a V8 M3 was a terrifyingly effective weapon. The engineers knew the inline-six was hitting its ceiling. The racing ban stung. But the data they gathered from that 4-liter V8 was invaluable. A few years later, BMW released the E90 Generation M3. And what did they put under the hood? A high-revving, naturally aspirated V8 engine. The S65. They took the spirit of the banned race engine and finally put it into a mass-production street car. They gave the public exactly what the racing regulators demanded. The M3 GTR was a flash in the pan. It existed for one brief, shining moment because a group of engineers found a crack in the rulebook and shoved a V8 through it. It was too fast, too expensive, and too controversial to survive. But that is exactly why we still talk about it. In an industry perfectly regulated to keep everyone on a level playing field, the GTR was a glitch in the matrix. It was a masterpiece of malicious compliance. Let me know in the comments, do you think BMW was right to exploit the rules? Or was Porsche justified in getting them banned? Don't miss our next deep dive. Subscribe now. And if you want to know why the Eclipse was one of Mitsubishi's greatest icons, watch this video next.